Welcome to Ali Fitness Podcast, a weekly production all about bringing health into fitness. Hello, welcome to Ali Fitness, a primal health podcast all about bringing health into fitness. And today we're interviewing Aisyah. She's an amazing athlete and is the first Singaporean Olympian in rowing. She lives in Sydney, where she trained for the 2016 Rio Olympics. Welcome, Aisyah.
Hi.
So thanks for coming. And firstly, I guess we'd like to ask you, how did you decide to become an athlete in Singapore?
I grew up with four brothers, so it was a very competitive household to grow up in. And I guess that's where I get my competitive edge from. And I think like mixing around with guys since I was very young made me a very rugged person, always getting involved in like doing physical activities like sports and running all over the place. So becoming an athlete is part of my life.
Wow.
I didn't decide to become. I think I just fell into it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I have two brothers, but I didn't become an Olympian rower, so maybe I needed to have four. So were you encouraged as a young girl to excel in sports?
In terms of being encouraged, I don't think so. I mean, we were allowed to play games, to do sports, especially growing up in Singapore. It wasn't a priority at all. Eventually, education is still your main priority.
Right. And so was that the case with the boys as well, or was there a bit more encouragement?
Honestly, I think yes, there was, especially like from my family's perspective, my brothers were encouraged to do sports more than how I was encouraged to do sports. So yeah, I guess there was gender disparity at that point of time.
And do you think that still exists?
Yes, definitely, it still exists. Some of my friends even who still tell me like, I'm not sure if I want to put my daughter into sports.
All right.
Yeah.
So would you say there is a sport culture among the young women of Singapore or not so?
No, there is a very small minority who believes in doing sports and seeing a future in sports. But I think the majority of female Singaporeans still think that sports serve no future for us.
Wow. And so that's the just general belief in both males and females sort of feel that way?
That's my personal opinion, yes.
Do you think that sport could be beneficial for young Singaporean women?
Yes, definitely. Because of me being involved in sports, going overseas for training and competition, it built up my confidence. It also gives me a sense of independence. And because I'm always involved in like doing physical activities, I know how to take care of my body. And especially when you stop doing sports or you don't do physical activities, you start to become like a bit bigger. And know that as an athlete, I know how to take care of myself, and I think that's very important.
So do you think the general population has good understanding about health and fitness, or would you say that it's not really focused on so much?
In Singapore, I guess it's a growing culture for health and fitness. More people are getting involved in sports, doing workouts like joining the gyms, going out for runs. But there's still lots of excuses going around like, oh, my work is taking up too much time. I have a family, I don't have time to do sports, and or gym memberships are expensive. So as compared to like in Australia, there is still a big gap between the health and fitness culture in Singapore and Australia.
Is it? Okay. I'm sure there are a lot of people in Australia who come up with excuses like that too. But so how is health and fitness promoted, or how is it promoted in Singapore? Like from a government perspective, or just from general, I guess, teachers and authorities?
Yeah, I guess from what I can remember, in schools, I guess we were encouraged to do physical activities like physical education classes.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you graduate from high school, our secondary school, and then it's up to you whether you want to do sports or not. And in terms of like, let's say nutrition, the Health Promotion Board does encourage us to like eat healthier, but their healthier eating options include things like, okay, if you go to, and eat outside in a street hawker stall, ask the vendor for lesser oil or add more vegetables. So you're actually eating unhealthy food, but just in lesser portions, which isn't really like healthy food. Yeah, so that's the kind of health and fitness promotion that we have in Singapore.
Right. So is it quite hard then to eat healthily in Singapore?
I think it is quite hard because you have a lot of options of unhealthy, oily food, and they are very cheap and convenient as well.
So what's the perception of healthy eating, do you think?
I think the perception of healthy eating in Singapore is having less oil, or eating something unhealthy but in small portions, or like basically that's what I feel Singaporeans are thinking about when they think about healthy eating.
So how did you break away from that? Because obviously that's not where you're coming from. And do you think, obviously you said that sports helped you know what was good for your body and that sort of thing, but was there a particular body or a group that you hung around with that helped your education with nutrition?
I guess staying in Australia helped a lot because the culture about eating healthy here is quite prominent. And because I was hanging out with a lot of athletes and I watch how the kind of food they eat, how frequent they eat, changed my perception on healthy eating as well. Yeah.
So would you say that the Australian athletes that you spend time with are healthy? Eat healthily?
I believe they are, yes, definitely. So, if I were to compare my Australian teammates, the girls I train with here, as those in Singapore, so let's say after we finish training in Singapore, we will have breakfast at like KFC breakfast,
Wow.
and we will eat like toast and kaya, which is like yeah, considered unhealthy. We often tell ourselves like, oh, we deserve it because we had a hard training session.
Right.
When I started training here, I see immediately after training, I see the girls eating like homemade oats, like those overnight oats they make on their own, like a fruit with yogurt, muesli bars that they even make on their own. So like there is a vast difference between even like in terms of what you eat immediately after training.
Right. And so in Australia, do you have a nutritionist?
Yes, I do have a nutritionist.
How does that work? What do they prescribe, or is it quite relaxed on the macro sort of nutrient level? Do they give you a breakdown of how much carbs you should eat per day and fat and that sort of thing?
Yes, she does go into the details. I've worked with her for I think a year and a half now, but it's interesting working with her because she used to be a rower as well,
Okay.
and she used to be a lightweight rower, but I used to be a lightweight rower as well. But then we are in the heavier range of the lightweight rower. It means that we sort of have to like starve ourselves to become a lightweight rower. So she understands what I'm going through. So I've seen her a few times, and in different stages of my rowing career. I've seen her when I was a lightweight. I've seen her when I was transiting between a lightweight to an open weight rower. And I've also seen her after I've gained weight and how to maintain the power and not gain the wrong type of weight. So yeah, it was very interesting to work with her because in the different stages of my rowing career, she teaches me different things.
So would you, in the phase that you're going through now, would you eat a lot of carbs versus fat, or are you more high fat, low carbs sort of plan?
Yeah, so her priority for me is I'm always, because I used to have very low levels of iron, which I think is common among women. So she always encourages lots of protein in my meals, like lots of meat, which is not a problem for me because I love meat anyway. But she also suggests things like because of I used to be a lightweight rower and my bone density was low, so she also told me to watch my calcium intake as well. Yeah, things that I didn't really like think about before this. Yeah, so she was very detailed in the kind of tips that she gave me, and it was very personalized. It wasn't like a general tip kind of thing to the population. It was she looked into my training program and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, great. And so
Yeah.
do you still work with her now?
Yes, I have worked with her, and recently when I got injured and I had to sort of stay on my boat for about 2 months, I went to see her as well. And yeah, when you're injured, you also have a different diet plan.
And so how did it differ while you were injured?
Yeah, so like she encourages me to eat like food that reduces inflammation for my injury,
Mm-hmm.
like the omega-3 fatty acids, lots of kale, spinach, avocado.
Great. And so it sounds like the people that you train with and yourself, the athletes, are fairly healthy. Well, obviously fit, but also healthy. Do you think that all athletes, whether semi-pros or professionals, are healthy because they're fit? Or what's your take on or your experience?
Yeah, based on my experience, especially because I was a lightweight rower. And this is the truth that not many people know, that athletes are usually not the healthiest people. You can be the fittest in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy. Especially when I was, based on my personal experience as a lightweight rower, because I have to be 59 kg and below. And 59 kg was not my natural weight. My natural weight, if I don't exercise and I do like occasional exercises and I'm not training as hard, I'll be about 63. So to lose that 4 to 5 kg, I really had to cut down on my food, which is already unhealthy. And because of that, my bone density decreases. I was missing periods. So definitely being an athlete doesn't mean that you're healthy.
Wow. So you basically had to really lower your calorie intake so that you could compete, so that you could
Yeah.
be in the lower weight category, like lightweight. Wow. So that's interesting. And I think you make a good point that perhaps all athletes, just because you're fit doesn't mean you're healthy. And this podcast is all about how can we bring health into fitness. I'm glad we spoke to you about that. And so would you then take what you've learnt in Australia back to Singapore, and maybe skipping the fast food breakfast, introduce them to more of a healthy eating pattern, or is that something that you're thinking about?
Yes, definitely. I will always try to encourage the different diet to my teammates. And also, like, I try to teach my mom to eat healthier. Yeah, it's something like I really hope Singapore will take from like countries like Australia, because we really need to change how we perceive healthy eating in Singapore.
And so even amongst the sort of the fit group, you still think that it's quite an issue?
Yes, I have friends who do like, bodybuilding, and the things they eat are just ridiculous.
What's an example?
So after lifting, after an intense session, they go to the hawker center and eat like rice and fried chicken, and they call it bulking up.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that could be common in a lot of areas, perhaps not just Singapore, but
Yeah.
yeah, very interesting. And so do you find, obviously you do a fair bit of travel, do you find it's hard to keep on track? What's the hardest thing about, that you find with nutrition and your diet?
When I'm traveling, no, it's actually not hard to get healthy food wherever you go, because I have a base like recipe kind of thing, a daily routine whereby like fruits are essential, and if I want to make my own meals, there's always vegetables around. My diet is easy, like I can just get a piece of chicken, put it on the grill or in the oven. I can just bake some stuff. So if I can find a supermarket, like my diet is settled. So it's quite easy when I travel. And I don't eat out a lot as well, so yeah.
Right, so it sounds like it's very simple.
Yes.
Excellent. And so just coming back to the situation with your personal career in fitness and becoming an Olympian, was there a sense from the government and even other sporting facilities that perhaps didn't really support you so much before you became an Olympian, but now that you're a well-known Olympian in Singapore, given that you're the first ever rower to go to the Olympics, do you get a different sense of support?
For sure, yes, there was. I definitely received more support after I qualified for the Olympics. More people became aware of not only me but also my sport, which I think is the most important to me. that's my ultimate goal, basically, to know that Singaporean knows what rowing is. But in terms of support, yeah, I mean, like, I think it works for most countries. This is what I've learned so far. Like, you can't expect a government body or an organization to support you if they can't see any results from you. So I think as much as we expect funding or support to come in first, we have to prove ourselves at some point before we expect people to like show that they care for us.
Now that you've proven yourself, they've come to the party and shown that they care a bit more.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so do you plan to give back to Singapore or to young girls in fitness? I know offline you've mentioned that that's something that's quite important to you.
Yes, I'm very passionate about giving back to the community, and especially among the female Singaporeans, because I've read about many stories about girls who want to do sports but tell themselves that, I need to work, I need to set up a family. But, working and setting up a family can come and integrate with your sporting lifestyle as well. Like, you can become an elite athlete and have all of this. It's just how much you really want it and how you balance your life.
Great. So how would you go about sort of making a change there?
I haven't really thought about it, but I think the best way to make a change to something is to change yourself. So for me, I have to show them that, I can become an elite athlete and be successful in my relationship and my, the other side of life as well. And from there, people can see that, it actually works. There's actually a thing as being successful in both your work and life.
So taking a holistic approach and just being an example.
Yes.
Great. And so what's on the horizon for you?
So for now, I just recovered from a shoulder injury, and hopefully I get back to racing soon because racing season just started. And the next big goal for me is the Asian Games next year, and I want to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics as well.
Great. And so Tokyo Olympics, what year would that be then?
That's 2020.
2020, great. And so would you compete as a rower, a single rower, or would you consider changing the sport slightly, going for a double?
I really want to do a crew boat. I think it'll be more fun doing having a partner in a boat. But for now, I need to focus on getting back to the boat, getting as fast as I can, and hopefully finding someone who's as fast as me or faster.
To join you, not to beat you, right?
No, to join me, yes.
Excellent. Great. Aisha, before I let you go, I just wanted to ask you a question, totally random question that we ask all our interviewees, and that is, do you have a tattoo?
I don't.
You don't? So
I wish I can have a tattoo, but my mom will kill me.
Okay, so if you did get a tattoo, what would you get and where would you put it?
Oh, wow. Good question. I would get the Olympics tattoo is a bit too corny. I would get a pair of angel wings on my back.
And why is that?
Because I believe in being brave, in setting free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Flying or setting free.
Yeah, that's great. Well, on that note, thank you very much. Have good training sessions from here on in. No more injuries. Thanks very much, Aisha.
No worries. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye. For all the resources and show notes from today's episode, please go to www.ali.fitness. If you liked today's episode, please show your appreciation by going to iTunes, give us a 5-star review and subscribe.